Hornets that dominated NASCAR stock car racing in the early 1950s. This is a car that was driven by Herb Thomas, NASCAR Hall of Fame member, one of the great drivers of all time. And if you've seen the Disney Pixar movie Cars, you know the character Doc Hudson, voiced by the late Paul Newman. That character is an homage to the great Hudson Hornets, one of which we see here. And this is the only one, to our knowledge, that survives that was actually used in NASCAR competition. And Dave, if you'd like to say a few words about this car, we'd love to have you do it.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Great to see everybody. I kind of broke the cardinal rule for shutting off the race car after it's been started and running. But yeah, this is actually the lone survivor from '52. So this car was actually driven by Herb Thomas and won 27 out of the 34 races that year in NASCAR. And still to this day, nobody's been able to accomplish that feat. So special thanks to Al Schultz for bringing it out, and he's a big fan and a member out at M1 Concourse, and from time to time we get to see it. That year when you guys brought out the sweepstakes car, Al was there and he put this car on the track both days, and it ran fabulous, just like the Hornet. So one, for me, it's just a bucket list thing to be able to check it off that I actually got to sit in and drive it, and it fired right up just immediately. So it's just super cool to see an original, car like this that's lasted all those years.
And we should say too that these were the days when stock cars were just that, right? There's not much difference between this and what you could have bought at the lot at a Hudson dealer in 1952. I think they took out the back seat, added a tachometer, put in a seatbelt. Yeah, it win on Sunday, sell on Monday. That's the motto when it comes to racing, and that's why companies do it, right? Sure, there are advances in technology and engineering that come out of racing, but a lot of it's about promotion. You sell more cars when you have success on the track, especially in NASCAR, when the cars still, even today, more or less resemble production cars, even though they're not stock in any sense of the word anymore. I have to say, this car had one of the most unusual speedometers I've seen. It's in single digits, right? 1, 2, 3, presumably times 10 when you're looking at the speedometer.
It's still a 3 on the tree with this thing shifting, and it's like, well, I think I got it in here. We'll just find out when I let the clutch out and if it rolls. So it's amazing, like how much of this was just stock, everyday, just driver engineering, and then to see a car like this that had that technology, that engineering back in '52, that lasted all those races, and still today, all these years later, it's still running.
We should say a word too about this car is a member of the National Historic Vehicle Register. This is a project that is championed by our friends over at Haggerty, just down the road there. Every year they pick out 2 or 3 significant automobiles, and they're not looking at broad makes and models. They're looking at one specific car, and they add it to this register. And it's somewhat similar to like a register of historic buildings. They want to document the car, so they'll bring them to a photo studio somewhere, get hundreds of high-quality photos from every conceivable angle. They'll put it on a turntable. They'll do 3D scanning. They'll create blueprints and drawings. They'll also do a lot of documentary research, right? Going back through photographs, newspapers, whatever it takes to put together a narrative history of the car. And the idea is that these vehicles are then preserved, in a sense, in the information that is preserved and then deposited in the Library of Congress. So it's a phenomenal program. I think they've got like 33, 34 cars on the list right now, including, I should mention, the 15 million Ford Model T from our own collection, which is sitting over at Mack Avenue right now. But this car is on. If you've been in Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation, you've seen that we are spotlighting a couple of those cars every year, and we have a display there kind of behind the Allegheny where we'll have one car. Right now we have a VW van that was used in North Carolina in the Civil Rights Movement. A fantastic story there. And this car being on the register, being here at Motor Muster, will it be in the museum soon? But stay tuned. I wouldn't be surprised, right? And Dave, would you like to say a few things about the M1 Concourse and the great events you've got going on up there?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Matt. If any of you have not been out to the M1 Concourse, we're in Pontiac, Michigan. We are right on Woodward Avenue. We've been around for a few years. We are a 1.5-mile long road course with 11 turns, 275 private garages, some of the most amazing car owners and collections, and in many cases custodians of this automotive history that you're talking about. And over the last couple of years, we've developed a few shows that I'm proud to say that the Henry Ford and Matt here have supported us with. This year we've got our Woodward Dream Show, which is Dream Cruise Weekend. Friday is our big car show. It's all People's Choice of awards and voting. Over 30 classes. We've already got over 500 cars registered for the show this year. Saturday, if you're looking for something to do, Dream Cruise Saturday, we've turned it into an all-day long cars and coffee. 20 bucks, 4 people in your car, you cruise in, you hang out, food trucks, music, and it's just a great way the weekend on our take how to celebrate Woodward Avenue and all that cruising and history and heritage. So there's really a class for every car and everybody. So if you want more information about our Dream Show, m1concourse.com. And then in the fall, the thing that I'm really excited about is this year is our American Speed Festival. This year we're celebrating 3 key marks, the 100 years of Le Mans, which one of your special cars is still in France. The IROC series, if you remember that, started off 50 years ago. And this is the birthday of the IROC series this year. So we're very fortunate that between the cars that ran at Le Mans, we have some of those coming to the track. Mr. Penske is sending a couple of his Porsche RSRs. We've got Ray Everingham sending some of his cars that ran in the IROC series out of his collection, and they'll all be on the track. And then finally, we're celebrating Corvette racing in history. This year with Woodward, with Corvette, we're doing a tribute display, and I know, Matt, this is something that's important to you, is we will have one Corvette from every single year from 1953 through 2023, all on display. So you will be able to walk the entire history and heritage of Corvette. And this is its 70th birthday. The guys down at the Corvette National Museum, Brian Baker, he is sending up the 1983 Corvette to complete the collection. There's only one of those that survives, so that will be here for that tribute display. But with Speedfest, with the Corvette racing and all these cars, the thing that's so special about it, everybody, is that we're on the track for 2 days with all these cars in motion. So the guys from Vintage Indy, Mike Lashman, they got 20 Vintage Indy cars coming. Some of the front engine roadsters, the modern day stuff. We've got 2 F1 cars that have registered. So if you got octane running through your veins like I do, our event in September 29, 30, October 1st, it's really a place to be. And you know, the Henry Ford's been a big part of it. The first year we ran it, we had the sweepstakes car there. So to see one of the first cars ever in racing to be a part of our festival is really important. And sending out the GT this year, we couldn't be more thankful for it. So thank you for all your support, and hopefully we'll see you out there at the track, everybody, at M1.
I appreciate it. I appreciate your support of Motor Muster. You're being part of it year after year. It really is a phenomenal event up there, phenomenal facility as well. I should say a word about a race car that is not going through passenger review, but is still on display this weekend. Our very own 1960 Buck & Thompson Slingshot Dragster. That is powered by a heavily modified Ford V8. Among the many modifications they made, they got something like 200 plus horsepower out of an engine that normally would have 85 horsepower. But that car is on display in Central Market with a number of other early Ford V8 cars. So by all means, go over there. We have presenters who would love to answer your questions. And I should say, I don't know if he's still here or maybe even in the audience, but Bob Thompson, one of the 2 people who built that car in 1960, was here today. He came over to visit us from the Chicago area. Phenomenal to get to talk with him. He's still doing well, still remembers just about every race he'd been in with that car. But that's kind of the prototype for the top fuel dragsters we think of today, in terms of just a chassis with a seat and an engine and a steering wheel. Not much more to it, but by all means, check that out as well. But thanks everyone for the racing program. We'll get on the way while the Hornet